I'm a self-proclaimed ambassador of play. I was working a really demanding job and I was working about 100 hours a week, just super stressful. And then I had an opportunity to leave that and I did. And I basically got all my stuff down to a backpack. Hack was the first game I came across that was truly cooperative competition. Whether I'm doing it by myself or I have one person, two people, three people, I played in big, huge circles, but everyone's working together. Everyone's congratulating each other. Nice move, great catch. And everybody leaves stoked. We got to find our way of play. So it's a great way to combat depression, anxiety, and the systems that we have that keep us in this unhealthy state, the dis-ease.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into the Vibrant Soul Society, The Conversations. I'm your host, Baba Sam, the Miracle Man. Our mission here is to help you see that you are greater than your thoughts, and beyond your thoughts is your vibrant soul. And your vibrant soul definitely wants you to play more, to enjoy life more. And we have the perfect guest to talk about this today. So, Xander, welcome to the Conversations.
Thank you for having me, Bob Sam. It's great to be here, man.
Yes, we
Yeah,
were talking before, and it's just like, well, the message that you're giving out, the world really needs. So, how would you describe yourself, Xander?
I'm a self-proclaimed ambassador of play. I'm also known by as a Z play coach, but I teach how important play is for us. It's our fundamental purpose.
So, we got you into this play journey because a lot of us are too busy playing an adult. So, how'd you get into this play state?
That's a good question. I was working a really demanding job and I was working about 100 hours a week, just super stressful. And then I had an opportunity to leave that and I did. And I basically got all my stuff down to a backpack. So I sold everything and got rid of everything. It was one of those miracle moments where my friend, and I was about to leave with the backpack and he just said, "Hey, do you have a foot bag with you? Like a hacky sack type of thing? One of these things?" But he just said, I'm like, "No, I don't have one." So he pulled one out and just handed it to me. He said, "Keep this in your pocket. It's going to be the best gift anyone will ever give you." And that really, it so profound of a statement. I did not realize how important that was, but from that point on, everywhere I went, I would just go to a park and play. And it not only that play got me energized and I was doing a bunch of exercise, but I always would meet cool people. It was the ultimate cultural breaker.
Just to play hacky sack with other individuals? Like, how did that unfold?
Yeah, I just go to a park, start playing with myself. But, and then somebody cool would come and play with me, somebody outgoing and fun loving who wanted to play with another human being. And Hack does that better than any other game I've come across. I mean, I'm a sportsman, so I've grew up playing sports, but Hack was the first game I came across that was truly cooperative competition. Whether I'm doing it by myself or I have one person, two people, three people, I played in big, huge circles, but everyone's working together. Everyone's congratulating each other. Nice move, great catch. And everybody leaves stoked. You didn't even have to speak the same language. Like you could explain it really quickly and with just verbal cues of how to play the game. So it literally changed everything up for me. I could always have fun and always can meet somebody.
Right, because when I see that, it's about playing. There is no winner. How can you keep this going?
Exactly. Nobody goes home crushed. It relates back to that childhood play that I think we all are born with, that feeling of wanting to include everybody, not another teammate that you have to, or team player that you have to crush.
I love that. That it's really about including everyone. So just imagine if we took a hacky sack into the State of the Union speech this past week that created so much division.
Right. Everyone just played hack for a moment. Come on, you guys.
Chill out, relax.
The hack is non-political, that's for sure.
Right. So you had this really stressful job. You're like, I need to do something different. I don't know what it is, but I just need to do something different. Some people are listening, like, okay, you left this really stressful job and you want to go play, but how do you support yourself doing that?
Well, my job actually left me with a little bit of extra cash. It was a great paying job. I revolutionized television with a couple of friends back in 1995. So I got a good chunk of money from that. And then I made some other little investment things that kept on giving me a little bit of money. But every place I went to when I traveled, I was very conscious about keeping my budget very minimal. I traveled for 10 years, but during some of that time, I lived in an ashram for a bit. I worked on a farm for a little bit, and I was a manny for a family for a little bit. So I helped out there. There were odd jobs I took every once in a while just to help keep the budget under a certain amount. But it kept me going. And I would meet a bunch of people. Like I would go to Central America, let's say. I'd meet a lot of Europeans. I would live very cheaply in Central America. And I went back to Europe and visited all my friends. And I would stay in Europe for really inexpensive. And then come back home, do some other things, then go someplace else that was really inexpensive, Southeast Asia. Go back home, hang out with those friends I made from there. Always a new place to go. Always got invited to go to different countries.
Right. So it was really the hacky sack was your networking opportunity, really created a huge network for you.
It was amazing. And then I learned how to make them along the way too. So I was able to gift people the foot bags that we played with. I said the same thing to everybody. Keep this in your pocket. It's going to be the best gift anyone will ever give you. So over the years, I've gifted away thousands of them.
Wow. So this is really interesting. So how'd you end up in an ashram?
Well, it was an ashram in Colorado. We went back to California and I was hanging out with my mom and I didn't really know where I wanted to go, but I had cousins that were living in Colorado. And so I was just, I know I wanted to go visit them. And then I'd lived in Boulder before heading on my travels. It was the last place I lived in before going on my solo travels. And I love Colorado. I got this inspiration to look at ashrams because I just wanted to stay someplace and just really focus in on spirituality for a moment. And I found this place up in the mountains near Boulder, this place called Netherlands. And I'm Dutch, so it's kind of like, oh, that's cool. It's a little town up there called Netherland. And there was an ashram up there. So I said, can I come in, hang out for a few months? So I ended up being there for 4 months, just studying, becoming what they call a Shivite. But
So
yeah.
getting in touch with that deeper essence within you.
And it was just a different take on spirituality, I mean, I consider myself more of a Christian than anything else, but it's more like religions or anything like that. I'm like, I don't usually get into religion or politics. I'm like, just be a good person. Don't be an asshole and you're fine. You know what I mean? I wanted to experiment. I wanted to see different perspectives. And I was fascinated by how they prayed. It was very interesting for me. So
Yeah, it's interesting that spiritual journey that you went on because it's when we're talking about the state of play, that's our spirit is naturally wanting to play and enjoy life, but we get wrapped up into all the stress, the heaviness of life. And then we were talking before the show, I just had this epiphany that if you're diagnosed with something serious that I was, it's a good excuse to go play.
boom. Yep. Why not? If find your way of play, but make that your mission to play as much as possible. Why not?
Right, to enjoy life. We're here to really enjoy life. You look at some of these teachers like Abraham Hicks and some of these others, they always talk about it's so important to feel good in this moment.
100%. 100%. And definition of play is feeling good. I mean, that's part of the definition of what play is.
It's feeling good because when you're feeling good, you're aligned to who you are and life just unfolds.
Yeah.
But like where I was, you get into diagnosis, you get into this really heavy state. You can't even think of play. You can't even think of enjoying life. You're thinking about your next doctor's appointment, the next
Right.
medicine. And it's like, no, we got to stop all this. Go see Xander. You need to go play.
That's, yeah. I mean, I'll agree with that. But yeah, we got to find our way of play. That the mission. I call myself the play coach or whatever. My mission is to get people to recognize that everyone has their own style of play. I teach what I call the foundations to it, but it's actually use that what I call the play flow state. It's like getting your brain is that thing where part of it shuts down in your own zone. To backtrack to the ashram, my guru saw me playing hack for the first time and he was like, that's your focus, that's your center, because he knew when I sat down I would meditate for like 2-3 hours a day and my mind was all over the place. I'm like, I got monkey brain going on. But when he saw me playing hack, he's like, that's where it's at for you. That's your meditation in motion, because he saw how focused I was. But
Yeah, you
that's what
something really important. The foundations for the play flow state. That
yeah.
really sounds profound.
Well, in my mind, it is. I truly believe that we have this state of being that's when we're in play, when we're in serious play. That's kind of like an oxymoron. But when we're at that place, we're playing full out, that our brain is in a flow state.
Are you finding people are more creative when they're in that state?
Another little side story is when I finished my heavy job, I had an interview at a company and it was in San Francisco and it was one of the new IT companies that were coming up, right? A bunch of them started sprouting up around this time, 95. When I went in there, I went to the main office building. The owner was showing me around and we went to the main room where all the workers were at. Everybody's in their computer diligently working away. And we were leaving that room, and he goes, "Wait, hold on for a second." He goes, "Shoot him up!" And everyone just started grabbing Nerf guns and started shooting. Everyone, like people are diving all over the place. It was like mayhem. Like bullets are flying all over the place, and we were just chuckling, we were just laughing, and like in 5 minutes, everyone just cleared it up. I mean, it was like boom, got it done, and then everyone started cleaning up, and then like the room had changed, the atmosphere had changed. Everyone was just like smiling and people working hard. He goes, "This is the best way we found to keep people happy and creative. They get all their stress out, and everyone jumps in. They're stoked to be there, and their creativity flows a lot better." So that was like my first real introduction to the power of how that can be utilized in a workflow area.
That's a really interesting company. I wonder where they are today because that's really getting the creative juices flowing because you're sitting in front of a terminal all day typing code. Your mind's going to get locked in a certain way. You might stop that flow state and go into your analytical mind trying to solve problems. But I can imagine if you're in a flow state, that problem is going to be like, oh, I see a new way forward now because we're not so focused on the problem.
Well, that's one of the things that the specific what they call the flow state happens for a lot of people who are programmers because their brain is sufficiently challenged so it stays active but not bored so it doesn't shut down. But it's at that one state, and they say it happens like after 10 minutes, especially for programmers. They'll get into this flow state where the brain will start thinking more creatively. It's called hypofrontalis. It shuts down the frontalis, and the brain starts really optimizing flow. So that's where kind of play flow state comes from. Is there's also a way to get into via play versus the way that they train it is really just testing your brain out with different things. It happens really quickly with juggling. That's one of the things that activates your brain really quickly.
Yeah, I saw that on your profile that why is juggling the ultimate brain exercise?
That's a great question, Baba. Well, the way the brain works, the left and right hemispheres, so you're using both of your hands, and the hands are kind of like the gateway for the brain as well. The amount of neuron connections that go through to register tactile senses and neuromuscular coordination and stuff is a huge chunk of your brain. So when you're doing this thing where you're catching with one side and then throwing on the other side and then catching on the other side and then throwing thing, you're activating the corpus callosum, which is the connector between the left and right hemispheres. It goes in a rhythm that the brain loves because it's predictable. So when you're doing these things, you're tossing it back and forth, you're causing this interaction, and it sends out brain pulses. They're called holistic brain pulses. So they shoot out and they activate neurons. Whether they're older neurons or it creates new synapses, they fire them. So it actually helps with Alzheimer's, dementia, so memory issues, because memory is holistic in the brain. So it pulls all these things together. It's just a way of getting your brain to activate in a really unique way. There's not many things that have that same type of activation. So I call it the ultimate brain exercise because it really just focuses on getting your brain to be activated in the best way. And you can always learn a different trick. So there's infinite ways to exercise your brain with juggling.
Yeah, because it's really interesting. After my healing journey with multiple sclerosis, after that was over, my first ever video on YouTube was the MS juggler. After I healed MS, because my whole left side was numb from MS, but after I healed, that went away. And I ran across some juggling balls. I haven't juggled at this point for like 8 years. And I just picked up the balls and started to juggle. It just like came back.
Another incredible thing about juggling. I've heard that, like, I'm a juggle pusher. I'll admit that. I'm walking down the street, I'm juggling. If anyone says, "Oh, that's nice," I'm like, you juggle? Do you know how to juggle?" And I get people to try and juggle. So many times I get people who are like, "I have not juggled since I was 13," and they're older, and they're like, "I learned it and I go try it," and they'll get it back almost instantly. It's like literally the neuron connections have been established. So it's just firing again really quickly, and you can get it back relatively quickly.
Yeah, so it was really amazing to me going through all this stuff with multiple sclerosis, how it affects the nervous system and shuts everything down. Like I said, my left side of the body was pretty much useless for a long time. But when I got my health back and the MS was all gone, which is a little odd, no more MS, but oh, there's juggling. I can do this.
Nice. I love hearing that. That's huge. So,
People say, well, like, how do you know you're healed from MS? I can juggle. I can
oh,
juggle.
yeah. Wow, that's great. Uh, And that's inspirational to be 100% clear on that, because I get so many people who say that they can't juggle or they won't juggle, and I'm like, it really is disappointing because I'm like, if you knew how good it was for you, you wouldn't have any excuses. You would just do it. I mean, literally, the ROI on it is insane. So I actually teach unique ways to learn how to juggle that are very easy to do. And I've taught a guy with Parkinson's disease how to juggle just by starting to squeeze it and getting that motion going and then tossing the ball around with one hand and learning the steps.
Yeah.
It can be done. It just takes persistence.
Yeah, just juggling getting the feel for the hands and things like that is the hardest part to relearning to juggle when I tried that was relearning how to juggle clubs. That was a bit of a challenge.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I don't do the clubs. I have so many jugglers, like I get comments all the time. You're not a real juggler if you do clubs. And I'm like, you know, okay, for me, juggling is my introverted thing to do. That's for me.
Right.
Hack is my external way. That's my social outlet. I'll, I will play hack by myself, but I like other people. With juggling, I like to do my own stuff because I'm always constantly learning new tricks. Clubs, usually practice by yourself, but it's fun to juggle with other people. And so you tell people like let's juggle together. That I can keep these in my pocket. That's another thing is I always have these with me. I can't carry clubs with me everywhere. So
Right.
I like clubs. I respect clubs. I think it's brilliant, but I just play with my balls.
But
So
yeah, I just stuck with the juggling balls. I don't even know where they are now because they moved so many times, but I can always get another pair and just reestablish that connection because it is there. I learned it from a teenager.
there you
Just
go.
I learned it and now it's still there in neural pathways. Yeah, it's really good that the philosophy of play, it really helps with our well-being.
Yeah, I'm right now kind of writing a book on this whole process of what I call the cure for our mental and physical well-being through play. I'm exploring it further, but literally, I think that not only does play put you in that type of mood, similar to laughter for your whole body, it puts your body in a great state. Every cell gets activated with this warm fuzzy. So it's a great way to combat depression, anxiety, and the systems that we have that keep us in this unhealthy state, the dis-ease. So play for me is that twist on it to make sure that we can remember what I call our fundamental purpose or our reason for being here. I believe it's based around we're here to play. And that's how I have children experience the whole process. So it's about re-bringing that into our world. That's when you're in playful state, your anxiety drops dramatically. And I think that causes so much problems in our cells, in our life is just our anxiety.
Right. It's the anxiety, but you mentioned a good word there, dis-ease, the lack of ease in the body, that's disease.
Yeah.
And play, you're relaxed, you're at ease. I can imagine if you're doing a lot of play, that disease is going to fade away. It's not going to be so prevalent because the body's like, I always say when you're in a state of play, enjoying life, you're aligning to who you really are. You're not caught up in the story.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to juggle, you can't be caught up in the story. You got to stay focused.
You got to stay focused. That's the great thing about it. I can instantly, as soon as I toss up those three balls, my brain is automatically zoom, and it happens super fast. So it's a little bit faster than getting into what like the regular flow state. Flow state takes about 10 minutes to get into, but with play flow state, it's like once you get into that play state, boom, it's right there.
Right. So this has me a new way of looking at things. When you have a heavy, serious diagnosis, go play. I
Oh,
mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to. And I know I need to talk to you today because your message of play is such an important factor and it's not talked about. Why do we have to be so much adult that we have to be all serious and forget how to play?
oh my gosh. I mean, my dad is very much a worker man. You know what I mean? When I first started telling him about my play and stuff like that, he was like, you got to grow up. It's frustrating to say, you got to keep play as part of every stage of life, and we get it beaten out of us. That's the truth. Kids, you get your playground time and stuff like that, but it's supposed to be all the time. If you can get play as your default, then everything in life becomes your playground. You can be doing anything you do, you can add play into it and have fun with whatever you're doing. But yeah, the world has associated play with being irresponsible or just not taking life seriously. And I'm like, taking life too serious is overrated in my book. You got to enjoy your time here.
Yeah, because if you're sick, you got a pretty serious diagnosis. The more serious you get, the more disconnected you get from your true self, your true essence, which knows the way forward for your recovery. So I'm just curious. So, how do you get play to be your default?
You got to make the time to do it. It's one of those things. The more you activate play in your world, the more playful you'll see the world. So start off slow. It's kind of like finding out what your way of playing is. Not everybody's going to have a different definition of what makes them in the playful state. That's what humanity is about. But find your way, start with baby steps, just make time every day that you're going to be like, okay, this is going to be when I'm going to forget about all my nonsense and I'm just going to go throw a ball around, or I'm going to go, do whatever I do to just take away the stress of the world and find a way to play. And then you're going to find that you're going to be, oh, I can make this playful. This is part of play. This is also part of play. I want to play more and more and more and more. And you'll find that you'll be way more productive in everything you do because you're going to be in that playful state.
Right. And that's really key too. If you be more productive, add more play into it, because once again, that mind gets very stressed and serious and it blocks creativity.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, less stress, and you're gonna be healthier. So you have less sick time off, so you have less downtime. So
Right, because you're taking away the stress. So it really sounds like the person really changed your life when they handed you the hacky sack. It seems like it changed everything for you.
everything for me. It changed everything. It was the best gift that I've ever gotten and ever to give out. You know what I mean? Because giving them to people is also a great thing for me to do. I love doing it just because it's the best gift, and you can make them. So that's why I'm like, I'm going to send you one of these, by the way. I'll send you a kit. It's a little kit that has all the stuff that you need to make your own foot bags in there. And then, then you can, there's 3 of them in there, and you can do it. And that's a great thing to learn how to do.
Right. So that'd be a challenge for me because my balance isn't so great anymore.
Okay. Well, juggling does help with that, but that's another reason why I love foot bag. Hacky sack is the whammo name, by the way. But so I have to call these hackitos. That's my brand. But because you hack your mind, body, and spirit. But yeah, that's why I call juggling the ultimate brain exercise, and foot bag or hacky sack, I call it the ultimate physical exercise because you're balancing all the time on one leg. So when you're kicking that ball around, you're really exercising your brain tremendously with just kicking it around.
Yeah, we really need to just rewire the brain, and play is a good way to do that, to bring back our childhood days.
Boom, boom, 100%. And again, you can do it by yourself, but when you go to a park and play hack, you'll get somebody to play with you most times. It's such a universal accepted game, and it used to be huge. I don't know why it's not. The people aren't playing it that much anymore. I'm on a mission to bring it back, though. I'm like, I got to try to remind people that play is amazing and hack is an amazing way to do it.
Right. Yeah. Like if you go to Central Park, you probably won't see people playing hacky sack, but I'm sure if you were there playing, someone would join you because there's just so many people there. Like, oh, I haven't done that for a long time. Let's go check
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah, I get that so much. But I'm always saying like, why'd you stop playing? Like, I don't really know. But I remember it always fun. I never had a you don't never have a bad hack game. You really don't. Like I haven't had one ever. I don't remember a bad hack game. It's always been a good time.
Right. So hack your mind, body, soul. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, hack your mind, body, spirit. That's what kind of came up with the hack I do or hackido. It spells out hack I do. So, since you know how to make them, since you learn how to make them, you're contributing to your own wellness. Even making them is amazing for your brain, by the way. Sewing is a meditation, but you're taking 2 similar patterns and making it a 3-dimensional pattern. So it's extraordinary for your brain, even the making process.
Because you're using both aspects, but you're talking before the right and left hemisphere. You're bridging both together.
Bridging both together. And then you're also making an infinity symbol in sewing, which is unique. So it's, because you're going left, left, right, right, right as you're sewing this thing around. It's just it literally is the best gift to give anybody. And then you can put your own designs on them. If you're an artist, you just take a pen and make a beautiful design on this thing and put your love into it. You hand it to somebody else. So every time somebody plays with it, I get a warm fuzzy. So it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Right. So yeah, it must be fun in your world.
Every day, what I mean? My goal is to make 3 of them every day. It used to be I would make 3 of them every day, and I go to a park and try and gift away 3 every day.
Wow, oh, that's really good. So, where can people find that kit? Because you're talking about you showed it. So, where can people actually can find that?
Well, the website's just hackido.org or .com. But yeah, the kits are available there, and I'm actually working with universities right now. They have digital detox programs, and so we're
Mm,
trying to, they're showing how the digital world is becoming for our youth, and a lot of people are rebelling against it. So these different companies, they're now coming up with these programs that they're trying to bring into schools. So I'm trying to get ahead of the program and get these kits available custom for different universities and schools and stuff so that the people can have them.
Well, that's great. A digital detox program. We definitely need less digital in our life and
That's
go experience life.
my origin story is me going to the airport in 95 after my friend gave me the foot bag and I played hack for 3 hours with another guy. And then we were heading towards the plane. The lady at the terminal was like, "Hey, thank you guys for entertaining everybody for 3 hours. Everyone was talking about what you were doing. It's amazing, right?" That's part of that whole story. And there's more to it. But when I go to the airport now, everybody's in this. There's nobody looking up. Everybody's got their face in their phones and just totally detached. And I'm walking around the airport. I'm juggling. I'm trying to just get people to smile, and nobody's looking up. It's crazy. I'm like, everyone's missing out on life, you know? So we're just locked up into this world of this phone that's super addictive. And it messes with our brain development of our kids. It gets them antisocial, and it's taking away our humanity.
Right. Yeah, you'll definitely see in the subway here in New York City, very few people are looking around. And people are afraid too to look around because of the crime problems that we have here. We don't want to tick off any of the homeless that are a little bit mentally unwell.
Oh, God. Yeah, and the people on drugs and stuff like that, you can't say anything because you don't know what they're on, and people will flip out or just go crazy. It's weird like that nowadays,
Yeah,
you
it was
know?
just interesting though in the subway recently though. I saw a guy sitting by himself just looking around. I looked at him and smiled. He looked at me too. He was also just saying, "Hey, will anybody engage?"
It's almost like a dare. Yeah. Right? You're the weird one now if you're looking around just smiling at people. It's like, and you meet eye contact with somebody, you're like, oh shit, do I look away? But
Right, it is because we don't have that social interaction anymore. The New York subway can be a really scary place at times because of the
yeah,
people that are just mentally unwell.
yeah,
So I'm sure if you were playing hacky sack, enjoying it, it'd be real interesting. I'd be really interested if you went into a place like the Bronx, a really hard place in the Bronx, and you start to play hacky sack.
yeah.
I bet it'd be a real interesting shift in the atmosphere.
One of the things I do is I have a backpack that I hook up on a camera to, and I put it above my head as I'm juggling down places, and I juggle down streets and just have this really cool camera that I can do that with. And I've done it in several cities. I did in Detroit, I was in Nashville, and I've done it in a number of places.
I think the atmosphere would just change to be like, who is this crazy person? What is he doing? Let's go check him out and see what he's doing. And I imagine the guys who are playing basketball would come over and try that because they probably never tried it before.
That would be one. I, I I'm a firm believer that the more jugglers we have in this world, the more better. The more players we have in this world, the more better. So the more play we can have in it, that gives more excuse for more people to play. And I'm a firm believer in juggling changes the atmospheres of things, and footbag is the way of sealing those relationships. Because you won't have violence with footbag, and you won't have anything negative with footbag.
Because there's no winner.
No,
Everybody's
everybody's a winner.
just encouraging each other to keep
Yeah,
the ball alive.
yeah. There's no losers and hack only winners. Like everybody wins. You know what I mean? Because everyone goes away feeling good.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
we need is this show is all about feeling good. So if you're feeling unwell, I'm really going to recommend this video. If you're feeling unwell, go watch this interview with Xander. He'll get you to shift the way you're looking at things to remind you to go play. If you're dealing with a heavy diagnosis, what are you doing to enjoy life, to go play more?
And so important. It really is.
Right, because you go into hospitals and everybody's like so consumed with their ailment or diagnosis. And just if somebody was walking by juggling or just having fun, it would shift everything for them.
I work at senior centers, and to be able to walk in there and just play, like we play various games. What's the point of this thing? I mean, it's just to have fun. It's just to laugh. And, you get them smiling and giggling afterwards. And it just, not only does it lighten up my spirits, but you can feel the whole energy change in the room. It's palatable.
I will have to try that on the subway platforms. Just pull out three things and just start juggling.
It's remarkable.
Yeah,
So,
this is a really good reminder to just go play, just go play. Life is very heavy, very serious. Stop
yeah,
being so adult. Go be
yeah.
a child again.
All children are born with it, man. It's how we experience life. It literally is. Children play with things. They're not learning through reading books or anything like that. They're learning through play.
Yeah,
So,
that's a really important topic to talk about that we learn through play because you're actually involved in that and you're building new neural pathways. I'm sure it changes the whole chemistry within you.
yeah, yeah. You find out what works, doesn't work. You know. make mistakes and adjust, but it's through play usually that we figure these things out.
Yeah, so if you're feeling heavy, stressed, go find Xander. He'll teach you how to play. He'll get you some hacky sack or teach you how to juggle or whatever it may be. He'll we need to rewire this brain to just go laugh, go enjoy more because there's so much heaviness out there.
Yeah,
So
that's crazy.
so I really enjoyed having you on the conversation. So Xander, if people had questions, how would they reach out to you?
The website's the best way. There was a way to contact me via the website. Yeah, I mean, basically that's there's a free juggling course on there as well, by the way. So if people want to learn how to make nice juggling balls, on the website, I teach how to make them out of rice, plastic bags, and balloons, and so you can learn how to make these good juggle balls, and then you can also learn how to make these things. The Hackitos on there as well. You can download the stencil. There's a video that shows you how to make it from that stencil. But yeah, that's the best way to reach out is via the website. So
And that's the
Hack I
hackido.com.
do, both of them will take you.
Thank you once again for the conversations. It's been really beautiful to have you here.
Thank you for having me. Much appreciation, Baba. Yeah, and glad to hear you're doing better from your MS and keep on playing, brother.
That's it. Got to keep on playing. Thank you again.
Aloha.